welcome to Lukmaan IAS. This is Takkar Rapid Series wherein we are discussing 10 MCQs on daily basis. These 10 MCQs are based on yesterday's current affairs. So today is class 35 and we are discussing current affairs based questions of 16th January 2023. Okay, so without any delay, let's start with the first question. Okay, this is the first question. Recently, a particular report was released and the question it is talking about, just a moment. Okay, the title of the report, Survival of the Richest. It was released by which of the following? Now, such kind of report based questions have been asked in the past by UPSC many a times. And we need to know which particular international organization is releasing such kind of report. So, important reports by the international organizations, NGOs, working in different areas. So they are important. Okay, so this report, Survival of the Richest, is released by Oxfam International. This Oxfam International is international non-governmental organization, we can say, NGO, and this particular NGO or non-governmental organization is working largely in area of, we can say, economic inequality, evaluation of economic inequality in different parts of the world. And this year it has released the report at World Economic Forum annual summit that is going on in Davos. Okay, so Davos, sorry. Okay, so this particular report highlights the level of inequality that is present in India. This report data should be used in your mains examination also. For example, in India, 1% richest own 40% of the wealth as shown by this report. Okay, according to this report, 1% richest people in India owns the 40% of the wealth and 50% bottommost. If we talk about the wealth level, 50% of the bottommost people owns only 3% of the wealth in the country. This is the level of, we can say, the inequality that present in India. The report also highlights that in last 1 year, the number of billionaires have also increased in the country. Number of billionaires also have. So on one side, we have faced the COVID-19 pandemic. We have seen the reverse migration of the people, and to some extent, the people were falling below the poverty line. And on the other hand, the rich people got further richer. This is the stark situation present in India, highlighted by this report. Survival of the richest. Remember this. Okay, now moving on. Next. The second question, it is talking about freebies. Okay, consider the following statement and which of the statement given above can be considered as freebie. Now, freebie is in news. Recently, there has been continuous discussion, debate on this issue of freebie. Even the judiciary got involved in defining, or we can say that understanding what can be called as a freebie and what is not part of freebie. So recently, Finance Minister has highlighted that this is part of freebie and this is not part of freebie. In general, let's understand what is the meaning here. When we talk about freebie, it is giving free of cost. That is for sure. But certain goods and services are given free of cost by the government to the people as part of entitlements. As a part of entitlements. That will not be called as freebie. ठीक है, फ्रीबी उस चीज को बोला जाता है जो वो पर्सन डिजर्व नहीं करता है, या जनरली हम बोलते हैं कि वो देना नहीं चाहिए बट उनको दिया जा रहा है. So this can be called as freebie. For example, many times the political parties announce in the manifesto that we will provide the electricity, free water supply. These kind of announcements, we call them as freebies. Okay, and when the government, after coming to the power, implements such kind of things, we call it as part of freebie. Let's find out among these four statements. A regional political party has promised laptops to the meritorious students in matriculation exam. So just now I told you that how these political parties in the manifesto announce such kind of freebies. So this is also part of that. Due to continuous droughts in Marathwada region of Maharashtra, the government of Maharashtra announced waiver of farm loans for the current fiscal year. Now you can see here, we call it as a freebie. Why? Because every farmer is given the farm loan waiver, irrespective of whether the farmer is facing some kind of drought situation or problems because of that drought situation or not. That's why we are calling it as a freebie. If suppose there is appropriate articulation and the calculation of which particular area or farms have been affected by the droughts, and if only those farmers are given the loan waiver, then we'll not call it as a freebie. Okay, so that's why we can call this particular, the complete waiving off of loans to all farmers, we can call it as a freebie. The government is aiming at announcing universal basic income in COVID-19 aftermath. Then this can be also called as freebie. Why? Universal basic income is given to all people on the basis of certain criteria. That's why the word used here universal. ठीक है, यूनिवर्सल बेसिक इनकम मतलब क्या है कि समझो बिलो पॉवर्टी लाइन, अगर समझो राशन कार्ड जो हम सर्टेन काइंड ऑफ राशन कार्ड्स आर देयर विद द पीपल और फैमिलीज, देन दे विल बी गिवन सपोज 5,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees per month as a part of universal basic income. Then we can call it as a part of freebie because it is including all people here. ठीक है, एक पर्टिकुलर सेक्शन ऑफ पीपल नहीं है. Then policy intervention to amplify direct benefit transfer DBT to marginal sections is about to be proposed in the union budget. Now this will not be called as freebie. Why? Because direct benefit transfer is seeking to eliminate middlemen. Directly the benefits are going to the marginal section. Now marginal section, basically it is talking about the entitlements that needs to be provided to marginal section as a part of welfare state. As a part of welfare state, इसलिए इसको हम freebie नहीं बोलते हैं. So when the government is implementing certain policies, schemes as a part of welfare state, or for we can say that the empowerment of weaker sections as a part of social justice, then we will not call it as a freebie. Then we will not call it as a freebie. Remember this. The other example let me give is PDS, Public Distribution System और National Food Security Act के अंडर जो allocations है, we will not call it as freebie क्योंकि वो marginal sections के लिए है, food security के लिए है. It is part responsibility of the government to ensure food security in the country. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, B should be the answer here. 1, 2, 3 only. Fine. Okay. Moving on. Third question. Recently, the Digital Services Act, which aims to curb the disinformation and illegal and harmful content from social media platforms, was passed by. ठीक है, तो ऐसे कुछ important legislations or international conventions, agreements, laws related to global governance, if they are in news, then you should be aware about them. Now this is one of the progressive legislation brought out by European Union. A is the correct answer here, European Union. This Digital Services Act provides for or some kind of, let's say, enforcement on social media platform. ठीक है, social media platforms के ऊपर एक enforcement है, so that the social media platforms are proactively removing any kind of misinformation is being spread or harmful content that is present. For example, let's say child pornographic videos. If it is spread on the social media platform, it is the responsibility of those platforms to proactively remove them as early as possible. Now this particular act, Digital Services Act, is now the legal enforcement on this. ठीक है, वो कंट्रीज में, यूरोपियन यूनियन के जो कंट्रीज है वहां पे ये लागू होगा. Okay, so remember this. In India also we are coming up with certain laws, legal procedure. Like for example, we have now recently drafted the draft personal data protection law is there. ठीक है, तो वहां पे अभी वो draft है. When it is enacted, we can say that that is the important legislation regarding this. Okay, then consider the following statements about remittances. Yes, remittances are very important part of our foreign exchange, we can say, in India, and India receives largest remittances in the world. Recently this was the important fact highlighted data. ठीक है, these are the financial and in-kind transfer made by migrant back in their communities of origin. This is what we call it as remittances. That is true, right? Financial or in kind also. In kind मतलब कुछ goods भेज रहे हैं वहां से, ठीक है? So that we can call it as in kind transfers, and yes, we can call it as a part of remittance. Remittance does not include compensation of migrant employees. So this is not true. This is incorrect. We can say it includes compensation of migrants. So there are two parts of remittances. First is this financial and in-kind transfer, and second is compensation of migrant employees. Both are part of remittances. ठीक है, दोनों उसका पार्ट है. तो सेकंड में डज नॉट इंक्लूड बोला गया है, so that is not correct. Remember that remittances are very important part of foreign exchange for any country. India receives one of the largest in the world at present, the remittances, we can say. So one only is the correct answer. Fine. Now look at this. The scientific name for Neelkurunji, Strombolanthus kunthiana. Strombolanthus kunthiana, also known as Neelkurunji or Kurunji, are we can say purplish blue flowers which blossom only once in 12 years. If someone wants to see blooming Neelkurunji or Kurunji flowers, which of the following will be the best place to do so? Now, few days back there were several photographs in the newspaper front page related to this कि 12 साल बाद ये bloom होते हैं, bloom हुए हैं, and where we had the locations of this is the protected areas or hilly areas of Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. Remember this. So Neelkurunji, it is endemic to Nilgiri Hills, that region. ठीक है? So B is the correct answer here. Fine. See the photograph, you can see Neelkurunji. Which of the following organizations released the Global Risk Report? Okay, Global Risk Report 2023. Again, a report based question we have asked. Now many times UPSC is asking such kind of question. अब risk related अगर हम elimination करना चाहते हैं तो for example you can eliminate this IMF. ठीक है, ये ज्यादातर मॉनेटरी एस्पेक्ट देखता है तो रिस्क वाला एस्पेक्ट नहीं होगा. यू कैन एलिमिनेट दिस. ह्यूमन राइट्स काउंसिल विल लुक इनटू द ह्यूमन राइट्स एस्पेक्ट, तो वो हम बोल सकते हैं कि एलिमिनेट होगा. या फिर यूनाइटेड नेशन इकोनॉमिक एंड सोशल काउंसिल और वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमिक फोरम में कंफ्यूजन रहेगा. दो ऑप्शन में कंफ्यूजन यूपीएससी हर एक क्वेश्चन में करता ही है ऑलमोस्ट. ओके, सो यस, largely UPSC is asking such kind of reports released by World Economic Forum. Now World Economic Forum is releasing several reports every year. ठीक है, unique kinds of reports release कर रहे हैं, and they are very very important for policy guidance for all those sovereign governments. ठीक है, तो World Economic Forum, this report is also released by World Economic Forum. So here onwards, this is the fodder for you. Whenever the World Economic Forum is releasing any new report, you need to keep that in mind in your notes. ठीक है? Okay. Now moving on. With reference to free trade agreement, consider the following statements. Now this is talking about which of the correct statement we have to identify about free trade agreement. So talking about the concept free trade agreement, FTA we call it as. So free trade agreement, as the name suggests, it is trying to bring down all the trade related tariff barriers. ठीक है, tariff and non-tariff barriers. Between two countries we can say. So ये जो टैरिफ एंड नॉन टैरिफ बैरियर्स कम करने के लिए दो कंट्रीज फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट साइन करती है. ओके, सो लुक एट दिस. फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट रेफर्स टू एग्रीमेंट वेयर मल्टीपल कंट्रीज एग्री टू ट्रेड एट जीरो ड्यूटी अमंग देमसेल्व्स. सो दैट्स व्हाई द वर्ड ट्रेड एक साथ में नहीं है, धीरे धीरे ये कम करते हैं. ओके, एंड देन दे सीक टू रीच एट जीरो लेवल. Okay, so we call it as free trade agreement. So this is correct. India have free trade agreement with Japan, South Korea, Brazil. Now it is difficult to remember which countries with which we have this free trade agreement. But yes, sometimes UPSC asks factual question. या एक statement factual होता है, एक conceptual है. जैसे पहला वाला conceptual है, दूसरा factual है. right? So yes, if we talk about India's free trade agreements, we have FTA with Japan, South Korea, but not with Brazil yet. We do not have free trade agreement with Brazil yet. Now let me give you some idea or trick point here to remember. Generally the developing country will have free trade agreement with developed country. ये आपके दिमाग में फिक्स होना चाहिए. हमें किस कंट्री के साथ फायदा होगा ट्रेड करने के लिए, ये सोचिए ना. As a part of developing country, we may be focusing on export of certain goods. We will find the global market for our goods. मार्केट कहां पर होगा? डेवलप कंट्रीज में होगा. डिमांड कहां पे होगा? डेवलप कंट्रीज में होगा. लुक एट द डेवलप कंट्रीज. जापान है, साउथ कोरिया डेवलप कंट्री है, ब्राजील स्टिल डेवलपिंग, वहां पे मार्केट नहीं होगा इंडियन गुड्स के लिए. ठीक है, सो वी कैन से दैट हमारे लिए वो यूजफुल नहीं है. तो व्हाई वी विल हैव एफटीए विद ब्राजील? ठीक है, तो दैट्स व्हाई ये अगर लॉजिक करके आप एलिमिनेट करते हैं तो यू विल गेट दिस करेक्ट. ओके, so yes, second statement is incorrect. One only is the correct answer here. Fine. Moving on. Consider the following statement about first movers coalition. About basics of first mover coalition. This was launched and the sidelines of COP27. Sorry, COP26, not 27. ठीक है, COP26 जो लास्ट ईयर हुआ था ग्लासगो में, वहां पे ये लॉन्च किया गया था. कौन लॉन्च किया इसको? US State Department in collaboration with World Economic Forum. They launched this. Now, what is the purpose? First movers coalition. Now, first movers means basically here those companies and governments who wants to decarbonize. Who wants to decarbonize or take a lead to decarbonize the major heavy industries. For example, steel industry, aluminum industry, aviation industry and transport industry. These contribute to about 30% of global greenhouse gas emissions. And if we decarbonize these industries, then it will help to reach the goals in the Paris Agreement. Okay, so these countries and the corporates are coming together now for taking lead to decarbonize. तो यहाँ पे क्या होगा कि नई टेक्नोलॉजीज को लॉन्च करना, फॉर एग्जांपल इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल्स पे नई टेक्नोलॉजीज, नई व्हीकल्स को लॉन्च करना, कॉस्ट कटिंग करना. This will be initiated by these coalition members. So yes, it aims to harness the purchasing power of companies to decarbonize heavy industry and long distance transport sector. This is true. Only corporates can be members of this group. This is incorrect. Corporates plus countries, sovereign governments, together they are doing this. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे जो है coalition दोनों का है, corporates यानी कि companies and governments. So second statement is incorrect. One only is the correct answer here. Fine. Okay. Moving on. ये इसमें आपको ये भी पता होना चाहिए कि इंडिया रिसेंटली ज्वाइंड दिस फर्स्ट मूवर कोएलिशन. ये भी पूछा जाता है ना कि वेदर इंडिया इज मेंबर ऑफ दैट कोएलिशन और नॉट, राइट? सो इंडिया रिसेंटली ज्वाइंड दिस कोएलिशन. रिमेंबर दिस. Okay, consider the following statement related to union tax collections. Okay, some factual information is asked here. We have to identify the correct statement. Now, the share of direct taxes has been higher than that of indirect taxes in 2020 and 22. अब इसके लिए थोड़ा सा ट्रिकी है जिनको डेटा वगैरह याद नहीं रहता है या जिन्होंने रिवाइज नहीं किया है. Now, if we talk about the share of direct taxes at present, it is 51.5%. As compared to indirect taxes, 48 point something percent, we can say about 48%. Okay, so the share of direct taxes has increased and it is now more than indirect tax. This is the we can say that trend of how country moves from developing country to developed country. In developed country, the share of direct taxes is always much higher as compared to indirect taxes. In developing country or underdeveloped country, वहां पे indirect taxes का share ज्यादा होता है. Okay, so this is the general observation. So this is correct statement. Amongst the direct taxes, income tax accounted for highest share. General logic है. इनकम टैक्स कभी भी डायरेक्ट टैक्सेस में ज्यादा हो ही नहीं सकता. कंट्री लाइक इंडिया, वहां पे जहां पे इनकम टैक्स भरते ही नहीं है लोग, ठीक है, जहां पे इनकम टैक्स अवॉइडेंस इवेजन ज्यादा है. रादर वी कैन से दैट वन कैन यूज द लॉजिक, द कॉर्पोरेट टैक्स दैट वी हैव इन इंडिया, this is the largest having share in the direct taxes. Thereafter comes the income tax. Okay, the tax to GDP ratio in 2021-22 has increased to the highest level in the last decade. This was in news recently. This is correct. Second statement is incorrect. This has reached to about 11.7%. Tax to GDP ratio, one of the highest. One of the highest. So 1 and 3 is the correct answer here. If we talk about the overall declining trend related to the share of taxes in the overall tax collection, first one is, we can say, the indirect tax of, we can say, GST, goods and services tax. Second is corporate tax. Third is income tax. Fourth is, we can say that, the customs duty. ठीक है, इस तरीके से आपको डिक्लाइनिंग शेयर में याद रखना है at present level. Okay, at present level overall बजट जब आता है तो वो दिखाता है ना पूरा जो पाई चार्ट बना के, तो उसमें भी आपको वो आइडिया आ जाएगा. फाइन. Okay, so this is the 9th question and the last one. Yes, consider the following statement regarding Dhauli Ganga river. Now why Dhauli Ganga river is in news? Everyone knows about this. This Tapovan Vishnugad dam is in news because of Joshimath. ठीक है, Tapovan Vishnugad dam is being built across Dhauli Ganga river in Uttarakhand. Near that we can say Joshimath town that is sinking. तो वहां पे जो है residents are blaming for all these hydroelectricity plants being built in that state. ठीक है, तो इसलिए ये न्यूज में है, बट ज्योग्राफी एंगल से क्वेश्चन पूछा गया है. The question is really not related to that. We have already covered yesterday or day before yesterday this question related to the hydroelectricity plants that are coming up, and match the following type in which river basin they are being built. Now its origin lies in Niti Pass. ये passes नहीं होना चाहिए, Niti Pass होना चाहिए, between Garhwal region of Uttarakhand and southwestern Tibet. This is true. The origin of the river Dhauli Ganga. It is one of the important tributaries of Alaknanda. This is also true. The Tapovan hot springs are located on the banks of Dhauli Ganga. This is also true. Tapovan hot springs are very famous locations. Now you should know that Panch Prayag, very famous in Uttarakhand, Panch Prayags, right? And when we talk about the Bhagirathi river coming like this from north, and the Alaknanda flows like this. This Alaknanda is met by several tributaries, and there we have different prayags. Prayag means the confluence of two rivers, right? So similarly, this Dhauli Ganga is also meeting, we can say that, what we can say, this Alaknanda river, and there also we have prayags. So remember the different prayag names also, and when this Bhagirathi and we can say that the Alaknanda is meeting, we call it as Prayag. ठीक है, तो वहां पे क्या है नाम, देव प्रयाग. When we are having this confluence of Bhagirathi and Alaknanda, the name is Dev Prayag. And here onwards, when the river is flowing, it will be called as Ganga river. So when we talk about headwaters of Ganga river, it is Bhagirathi and Alaknanda. These are the headwaters, and when there is confluence at Dev Prayag, here onwards it will be called as Ganga. And then we have Ganga and Yamuna confluence in Allahabad, or we can say Prayagraj. That location is called as Prayag. ठीक है, so remember this for prelims examination. So answer should be D here, 1, 2 and 3, or 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so these are the 10 MCQs. If you have any question regarding these MCQs, you can ask in the comment box. We'll try to resolve that query in the coming session. Also, try to read the explanation in the explanation PDF that we have provided in the description of this video. Fine? Okay, thank you.
The first step towards achieving your dreams is having the right coach. Get the best education with Lukmaan IAS. and make your UPSC dreams come true. Download the app now.